What is going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders. I am very grateful to have your attention, at least for the next 15 minutes of this episode. Forward Thinking Founders is a podcast where I interview pre-seed and seed stage founders about their products, what they want to build into the world, and why. We dive into how they spend their time, what's their vision, what's their origin stories, all these things, so you can learn all about what's coming tomorrow. Because these companies haven't hit critical scale yet. Most of them haven't hit product market fit. These are just early stage companies, and the big question is, what can this be? And in this podcast, we bring that out. So with that, I really hope you enjoy your time listening to today's episode. And I've already done 200 plus, so if you like this one, listen to some of the other ones, like with Imadi Kund, Austin Allred, Leah Culver. We have great interviews, so check it out, enjoy the repository, and for now, let's get into today's episode. Here we go. All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders, where we talk to founders about their companies, their visions for the future, and how the two collide. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to Rav Roberts, who's a co-founder of Medsii.com. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, Matt. Great to be here. I'm a great follower of yours and have been for some time. So really thankful that you've taken the time to interview me.
Yeah, excited to learn more about what you're doing. And as a former forward-thinking city resident, I mean, like, oh my gosh, it's almost like an honor on my part. I feel like that was like such a legendary part of the story, and you are a part of it. So I appreciate you joining that. Appreciate you coming on to the podcast. So for people that haven't heard of your company before, they don't know what Medsii is, what are you working on? What is Medsii?
So Medsii.com, you can find us on the App Store, Play Store, or at Medsii.com. And what we do is we provide trusted, timely, and tailored, so personalized health and medicines news and information to you. Now, you may think, well, other companies do that, but what we do and what we've noticed is the big problem is that people like me, I've got diabetes, but people like me, we find out about information too late. Basically, around half the world has a chronic condition like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, mental health problems. And they normally search for information after they've been diagnosed. So what we're doing is we're using our AI to help drive information that's tailored to your needs before you even know you need it.
So walk me through kind of how this would work for someone who was using it. So if I started to feel like symptoms of something, would I go and search? Or like walk me through kind of the user journey of someone that would use the product.
Yes, so all you have to do is go to Medsii.com, and you don't even need to register. You can browse all our news articles. We've got a Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook type of interface, so it's very friendly and engaging. But if you want to follow medicines, conditions, topics such as men's health, mental health, women's health, even children's health, and many more topics, then you have to register. And the more information you provide, for example, but when I say information, the more conditions you follow, or medicines you follow, or comments you make, or topics you follow, the more we can personalize the information to you. So what we do is we actually send you push notification alerts when something that you're interested in comes up as a news or information item. Now, I'll give you an example of how that works. So about 10 years ago, I found out I had high cholesterol, pretty serious condition. And of course, I've been on statins ever since, right? Now, what our app could have done if it was around 10 years ago is it would have warned me in advance, because it knew I had diabetes. It would have warned me in advance by sending me push notifications to tell me, you're at risk of high cholesterol later on. Now, I never knew I was at risk of high cholesterol back then, but we'd be able to send you those push notifications to tell you that. Not only that, we can send you information about replacement drugs. So if you're taking a drug that's quite expensive and a new drug's coming along, a generic that you might be interested in, then we can send you push notifications about that when it becomes approved. So all sorts of use cases that are really valuable for people taking medicines.
And tell me a little about the origin story. I mean, you just shared a little bit of your history, but like, how did you decide at some point, like, oh my gosh, like, let's build a company around this to solve the problem?
Okay, so yeah, it started basically almost at the same time that I found out I had diabetes. So myself and the two other co-founders, we met at business school about 16 years ago. So we've known each other a long time. And we kept in touch during the years. And actually myself and the CTO, we started an Internet of Things company 7 years ago that we sold 5 years ago. So we had a track record of working together. And then we met the other co-founder who's worked at the medicines regulator in the UK. He's worked for Eli Lilly and Gilead, big, actually Gilead, a San Francisco, Silicon Valley pharma company, right? One of the big giants. And we met at a networking event, and we came up with this idea, and the idea started very differently. Initially, it was people do not report the side effects of their drugs. Okay, so there's, in the UK alone, 1 billion prescriptions are made a year, and less than 17,000 drug side effects are reported. But we know that people experience a lot of side effects from the drugs that they take. They just don't report them because they don't know where to report them. They don't know if it's a side effect, or they're just too busy. Okay, even doctors don't report because some doctors actually feel it's more admin type of work. However, we thought, why don't we build an app? We know technology. I actually had a .com startup in San Francisco 20 years ago, believe it or not. And I started as a programmer and a database guy, analyst, but way back when at a company called Fidelity Investments, another great American company. And myself and the CTO, we're the technologists, and NASA, our chief scientific officer, we came up with this idea, but we realized we actually need to provide value to people before they give us any information about their side effects. So we pivoted and started providing this trusted, tailored information to people before they know that they need it. So instead of going to Google and doing a search after you found out you've got a symptom, you come to us and we send you information that's relevant to you.
And walk me through a little bit about kind of your day to day. I mean, you have a couple of co-founders, you're also a co-founder. When you wake up every day and you decide to work on this, what are you spending your time on?
Yeah, first of all, there's no average day. There's all sorts of things that we're spending our time on. Myself, I'm responsible for a number of activities. We're a very early stage startup. We've raised about $370,000, including from investors in the US, but also from the UK, Germany, Italy, and Dubai. So we've got a very international investor base. And in fact, most of our investors are from outside the UK, just over 50%. In a typical day, I'm doing, first of all, I think the first thing I do is go to Twitter and see what's going on, right? And probably go to your profile, Matt, right? And have a look. And a couple of others, such as Elizabeth Yin, Jason Calacanis, and some other great people on Twitter, just to see what's going on. The latest news for startups, the latest news in health tech, what's driving the news today. I just like to be aware of what's happening. And then the day-to-day tasks start, but every day is different, right? So we've just started our seed fundraise. So I'm actively starting to network with a lot of VCs and angels on that. And then I'm responsible for all the marketing, all the PR, all the B2B work that we're doing to try and engage with healthcare providers, doctors, pharmacists. And interestingly, we're just about to launch our creators service, a bit like Substack. Retired or even current doctors, pharmacists, scientists, academics who have an interest in health or medicines, even meditation, right? They can come to our platform and create content that they can then monetize, and they keep the lion's share of that, of what they make.
And kind of walk me through a little bit about, you just shared a little bit of the inputs and what you're spending time on, but where do you think this could all lead to in other ways in 10, 15, 20 years? What do you see as the big vision here, and what direction are you rowing in?
Yes, great question. So we've toyed a bit with our vision. What we really want to do is to make a trusted health information, make it accessible for everyone. we're talking about around half the world that has a chronic health condition that they take medicines for. And information isn't accessible to everyone. There's all sorts of different information that's available. And as I said, normally you get it after you need it. Um, if you look at Netflix, for example, they can tell from what you're watching what sort of stuff you're interested in, right? So what we want to do is be the Netflix for health, where we can tell what you should be interested in based on your potential conditions. So we want to help people proactively lead a safer and healthier life forever. That's what our vision is.
And in order to make it happen, you'll need some help, right? I mean, it takes a village to make a startup work. So my question for you is, how can the forward-thinking founders community help? Are you hiring, raising money, like you mentioned? Are you looking for partners or customers? How can we assist?
Yeah, so two ways really. So we are looking for partners and customers. We are initially we're a consumer-focused digital health company, but as I said, we're looking for creators. So if you're a doctor or even a retired doctor, pharmacist, health scientist, even someone studying at university, health or medicines, biotechnology, that sort of thing, get in touch with me. We'd be really happy to feature you as a creator and to help promote you, to get your knowledge out there, to help you network, and of course to make some money. So that's number one. We're launching our B2B service next year as well, for retail pharmacy chains, health insurers, and more, a white label version of our app. So if anyone knows anyone that could be interested in that, get in touch with me. There are a couple of big US companies that we're already engaged with in that front. And then finally, but most importantly, we are raising funds right now. We're raising about $1.1 million, and we're looking to close that fund probably in Q1 next year. So we're starting the raise in January.
And if someone's interested in kind of any of those elements, how can they learn more about you or find you online? Do you have a website, social media, email address? How can they learn more?
Yes, so first of all, go to medsii.com, medsii.com, or hook up with me on Twitter, Rav, R-A-V Roberts on Twitter or LinkedIn, and I'll be very happy to talk to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you again, Matt. It's been great seeing you, and yeah, have a great holiday. And we really hope that 2022 is going to be better, right?
Yes, fingers crossed.
Yeah.